Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. Class is now in session for level 28. I'm your host, Walker Dude, not Foo-Foo, Cuddly Poo. And with me today is the Ragtag Gang. First up, L. How are you doing, sir?
Oh my god. I'm still sleeping from that Super Bowl. And I gotta tell you, the Patriots still suck. Unfortunately, the Rams sucked that much more.
It was quite uneventful for a non-sportsman like myself.
Did you eat some good yummies?
They were okay. Can't complain.
Did you watch some good commercials?
Actually, there was no good commercials.
Oh, come on. There was something.
How about the Xbox one? You know, the adaptive controller. That was nice. Right in the feels.
That was touching. We need to get...
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. We should get Foof one of those. Maybe he could do something.
Maybe he can play some games.
He won't hear this episode, right?
No, probably not.
Okay, good.
Moving on. We also have Koosh Moose. Hello.
Hey. Yeah, my favorite commercial probably was one I didn't see until after, and that was the new Avengers trailer or teaser. That got me right in the feels.
That got you in the feels?
I missed that one.
The feels, yeah, up and down my arms. The feels were just showing.
That was
goosebumps.
Yeah. From what I remember, that was before the game even started. There was an Avengers teaser.
Well, yeah, I didn't get to see too much of the game. I did eat some chicken wings, but
yes,
didn't get to see too much of the game. So, or commercials. And then the second half, yeah, I didn't even get to see the second half. I was putting the kid to bed, so I missed halftime and second half. And yep,
Missed like 90% of the points.
Yeah.
And lastly, making her grand return, we have Matrarch. Hello.
Hello. I actually had two favorite Super Bowl commercials, since I think I'm the only one that stayed awake for the whole game. One, I thought the T-Mobile commercials were all great, especially the one where the woman is clearly asking her significant other about what he wants for dinner, and it just shows him going through all the typical responses you go through before settling on whatever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
That was amusing. And the NFL 100 commercial. NFL has its problems, but that was a great commercial. So it wasn't all bad. Everything else was bad. But
I gotta say that T-Mobile commercial sold me on tacos. I was ready for tacos.
It was really funny.
I redeemed my free taco. I didn't actually go to a Taco Bell, but I have a free taco sitting in my Taco Bell app.
Hey, Michelle.
Until next week. Hey, El.
Did you know that Coors Light has corn syrup in it?
No, that's not our corn syrup. Go to the next castle.
Oh.
All right, well, that's the sports ball portion of the show.
Did I hear someone reading off beer ingredients? That was funny.
He was probably proclaiming the ingredients just like
Proclamation point.
El, will you read off this list that Fufu has called the honor roll, please?
Sure. After that segue, how could I not? Mr. Tropan is now in the top 1,000 of the TA leaderboard for puzzle. What say you, Michelle? I
say that's really good. That's all I'm gonna. No. When you consider that TA has almost 400,000 tracked gamers, when you start getting into these top 1,000, even top 10,000 of a global leaderboard, that's really awesome. Elle only threw it to me because he knows that I'm personally set a goal to get top 50 on that leaderboard, and I'm sitting at, I think, 55 or 56 right now. But top 1,000 is really awesome. So good job, Tropan.
All right, Tropan. I think he wasn't even going for it, so those are always the most fun ones to get.
Mm-hmm. Just like achievements when we're not using guides, right, guys?
Don't ask Corey. He doesn't know about that one.
Nope.
Not to be outdone by Tropan. Tropan also was in the top 100 of the USA Gamerscore leaderboards for the points and clicks.
Point and click. That sounds like a snooze fest of a category.
So I would love to hear from Tropan in Discord or otherwise why he chooses to track point and click. A top 100 again, big deal. But if he has any further goals or if top 100 was where he was going. But congratulations on making it there. We're into the double digits.
All right. Our friend Prue now has 750,000 TA score. He's
Yay, Prue.
three-quarters of the way to
meal.
Emiliano. Kingsman has 13,000 achievements. Good job, Kingsman. Our friend from Down Under, Chin Doctor, who we seem to mention every week, has 450 completions.
That's very impressive. People with these big game totals. You know how many people on Xbox don't even have that many, anywhere near that many games on their tags?
Most.
I'm probably right under or right above that for games played, personally.
Wow.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy.
There's probably 450 ACA games that you can sink your teeth into if you wanted to.
Probably have access to them now.
All right. Now, a topic that's near and dear to my heart. No, not sandwiches. Achievement win streaks. Beer Me 7 tickled my fancy when I saw that he has a 25-day achievement win streak. Way to go, Beer Me. What the Fug is on a 100-day win streak. Nerve Bullet, 125 days. Then we up the ante to Woo! Has 1,400 days of achievement bliss.
Wow.
But alas, he was not the big winner of the week. Mattism is currently on a 1,900-day achievement win streak.
Well done. I guess these achievement win streaks are kind of typical of how it goes. You either are really in it for the long haul and go for years and years and years, or you hit something like 150, 200 and decide, I might not want to turn on my Xbox today and go get some sun and start back over.
I know some people that don't say that.
Like, what is the number? What is the number that you get to when you're like, okay, I can't stop now?
Probably
is
that
it a
365. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
I
thinking
think it
that.
depends on the person. I'm pretty sure that when you set out to do this, it's your nature. I never cared really about achievement streaks too much until it became a feature at TA. Like, it was a feature at 360 Voice, and I followed it there. But once TA started tracking it, I was totally on board with it and have kept going. And it's its own little sickness. But there are people who, they set a goal and they're going to get to 100 days and they're really good about snapping the streak. I'm pretty sure my life would be much happier if I could do that myself. But I think for most people, it's just once they start seeing that number climb up, you're either going to keep going forever or you're going to just hit a line and stop. And that's completely up to your nature.
Yeah, I think I've told the story before, but I've tried to get to a year and I was going to cut it off and Destiny 2 screwed me. But so I was going for, I think I'm almost near 100 now, and I'm not playing Destiny ever again. But I'll probably try to get to a year and stop again. But I'm at the point where it doesn't always cross my mind that I need to get an achievement. And so sometimes, rarely, I have to rush and try to find something real quick or wake up from a nap and run and turn on the Xbox. It kind of sucks.
Well, a little bit of foreshadowing. It's possible with some of the news that may or may not be floating around out there that it might be getting even easier, possibly someday in the future, maybe, to get achievements and not have to rush up from a nap to grab something. So we'll see how that goes.
Matt Tism, not to be outdone by himself, has reached a new milestone of 500,000 gamer score. That is a big plateau.
Mm-hmm.
And he achieved this with a little ditty we talked about a few weeks ago, Refunked. Good job, Matt Tism. Now we have some host milestones. Wakapeil is now in the top 500 of all of TA.
Crazy.
Whoa, dude.
Somebody on this podcast actually is good at games?
Unbelievable. You know, he should really use some of that knowledge to offer us some quickie at the end of each episode. That would be good. ElroyOMJ.
Love that guy.
There you go. What enthusiasm. 300 completed games. Way to go, Elroy. And his SAF.
Only 205 of them are ACA games, so well done.
I think that's actually correct. Big L, that's me. Something funny happened last week after I got that Plants vs. Zombies achievement, which was like 25G. Woke up the next day to see I was in the top 500 of XBLA Gamerscore. So that was unexpected. I'm now in the top 50 of Xbox One TA in New York. And of course I look in the list and I see Michelle up there.
You don't say.
And I'm gonna have to beat her.
You're gonna
Don't tell her I
sabotage
said
TV
that, though.
again?
What, Kush?
So you're gonna sabotage her TV again?
Oh.
I know it's
My-
mildly distressing that Elle's been catching up to me in Gamerscore over the last couple years. So I just don't know that I want to compromise my gaming time for only playing Red Leica games. So I'm not quite there yet. Maybe when he gets within 20,000 or so, I'll go step on the gas a little bit.
And I also hit 700,000 TA.
Woot.
And Michelle has reached a new milestone of 19,000 achievements won.
Woot again.
Good job.
Good job.
So, question though, with your 700,000 TA score, how many achievements? We're about 100,000 apart now. I think I'm at like 790. So, how many achievements are you at?
I'm at 15,000-ish.
Wow,
Okay.
it's a big gap. Huh.
It's all those Windows Phone games that weren't worth very much, but had 10 or 12 achievements. TA has a stat on it, and I don't know how much you guys have looked at this, with like the standard score, if each achievement was worth X amount, which I don't really understand, but maybe that's all tied into this sort of stuff. Any of you guys good at math and get what they're getting after?
Nope. Negative.
Kush is. Hey, Kush, wake up.
I have not paid that much attention to it, though. Yeah, but yeah.
Hey, Kush, did you get a milestone?
Sure. I actually reached 300,000 gamer score.
Way to go, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. So
Very
now I can
nice.
start my foof. I can
Do you
start on my
recall-
foof for the year.
Do you recall what game you hit it with?
I do not actually. It was not a milestone I was gunning for, which is weird. I knew it was coming, but for some reason I just.
All right. I guess I'm going to look.
Okay.
Looks like.
Don't be embarrassing. Don't be embarrassing.
Oh, not at all. Jack Quest.
There you go.
Oh, that's not so bad.
It's nestled in between Jack Quest and Heroes Trial, so not at all.
Oh yeah. Well,
Not
as long
at
as it
all
wasn't Heroes
embarrassing.
Trials, I can live with Jack Quest, but not Heroes Trials.
I don't know what that's going to say for this, but you're reading everybody's milestones, but you don't have one for me.
Scanning the list. Nope.
What do you mean you're scanning the list?
Okay. Something you want to tell us? You're hinting at something.
Well, you could refresh TA because
Uh-oh.
Oh, live update.
Hold on. Let's see.
Okay.
You're not supposed to be playing games. Oh, my God.
look at that
What the-
live on air.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
I just hit 200,000
Wow.
gamer score and
What achievement was it in?
did it. Well, I'm glad you asked.
Put a copyright
ACA
out.
Neo Geo Aero Fighters 3 Win 10
Very nice.
What achievement?
with the achievement score 200,000 points. So
Mhm.
Wow,
sort of-
nicely done.
sort of planned.
Oh, and
Last
I
Save
minute
your
planning.
manual scan for on air.
I did just for you guys, and I could have ruined my Hangman.
I was gonna
because
say,
I
it
wasn't
looks like
paying
a
attention to
Hangman.
that. So
Oh boy.
But it says
More on
that
that
it
later.
counted for Hangman, so I guess you needed an A or you needed a S.
I needed an
then,
S.
so-
Yeah, I do know my phrase, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yes.
But yes, 200,000 gamer score.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was a goal that I wanted to hit by my birthday, so I'm almost 2 months ahead of time on that. And then my FOOF will be 285,000, but the stretch goal will be 300,000 by end of year. So nipping at the heels of Koosh there a little bit.
Yeah, we're neck and neck there.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
And speaking of Koosh and his favorite genre, Eliphalet77 is now in the top 10,000 of the Gamerscore leaderboard for Metroidvania.
Good job.
That doesn't seem so good, but he's been playing some doozies lately,
Yeah, he's been talking about it.
and he's been talking them up. He finished Song of the Deep. I believe he said he finished Batman AA
That's impressive.
recently. And now he's up to Ori. So
That's not an easy one.
that
I,
that's one where You have to beat the whole game without dying, right? So you have to do...
Yeah, you can cheese it, though. Yeah, I think he said he just did the tree. He said he just did the tree run.
You have to...
there's multiple save slots. You want to do it,
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think you have to copy your save to another slot, right? And then quit out if you die. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to do save scumming?
No, you don't have to do save scumming. You can make a whole bunch of copies, and then when you mess up, you can just go back to the most recent one.
I mean, I got like halfway through the game, and I died hundreds of times. So this sounds really hard.
I think my first run through the game, I died 300 something times on just the tree. So it's very impressive. I mean, it's also got a speed run achievement in it. I think less than 3 hours. It's got a run in it for no abilities or not advancing anything on your ability tree, which is I can't even imagine doing because I'm so reliant on all the stuff you get from the ability tree. And I think I saw he said he's going to do both.
I think so.
So Ori and Ori HD or Ori Definitive Edition?
Yes. So... And speaking of the tree, he said today that he did the Ginso tree escape, and it might be one of the best sequences in a game he's ever experienced. So that's high praise.
It's definitely a good sequence. It's definitely memorable.
I feel like if you are able to go through that without dying, you just feel like you're so good at what you're doing right there. Like you feel rewarded for the experience. Like, the 2 times I've played through the games, both times I was just, it's very well done. It's brilliantly done, but I was just so excited to be done with it because I died there so much that I didn't get that same sense, that same rush from getting it done.
The worst part about that is that, yeah, I mean, it's epic, it's, cinematic.
Yeah, the music is great as you're going through all that. Not that you can stop to really pay attention, but it's beautiful.
But then if you forget the pickups, I mean, that's just, wow, what a slap in the face.
Right. You can't go back, and it's locked in there forever.
Isn't that also the point of no return?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a point of no return. You cannot go back and do it again. Yeah.
Yeah. When I played through the game the second time, I made sure to have a save before there, because I didn't know that the first time. But I still had some weirdness with it that I didn't get all the map stones, even though I have all the map stones in my save. And there's some wonkiness with the game where, depending on where you hit checkpoints or where you put your saves, because it doesn't really have checkpointing, you may get something but not remember to go back and get that thing, and it can be a little weird. So I kind of got lost an achievement through some fault of my own, but I can't exactly tell where. And I just haven't... I want to play the Definitive Edition, but I just haven't gotten around to it. I've been slacking on my Metroidvania. I've really not done very much of anything. I gotta catch up. Are you working on... Well, what are you? I asked the wrong question. What Metroidvania are you working on currently, Koosh?
What am I... Which one am I currently working? I am still chipping away at Sundered. I've taken a little break from that. I wanted to complete Guacamelee 2, and I did. Shortly after Rocker got it done, I got that and the DLCs completed. That was fun. I got it all done in one. I didn't want to do a normal and a hard run, so I just combined the two. Using a cheat code to unlock hard right from the start. And that was good. It was challenging. Some of those rooms were infuriating. I almost cost myself a controller. And maybe the love of my dog. Or his trust. He's a little worried now when I start to use certain words. He gets a little worried and comes over for to console me. Which unfortunately also has the side effect of like jostling my controller arm, so it's really infuriating. It's just you start to curse, and all of a sudden now there's the dog on your elbow, and now if you curse more, he'll just be tighter to you, and so yeah, you just can't go down that path. So actually, I was streaming my trials, and Rocker, I think you mentioned that I was like pretty.
You're surprisingly calm.
Yeah, surprisingly calm. Well, there was a reason for that. I didn't want my dog to run over and mess up my runs. So once I got done Guacamelee 2, thankfully, I guess people will be happy. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I moved on. I'm moving on to Sundered, and I'm chipping away at Mystic Bell because my daughter likes to watch every now and then when I'm playing a game, and that's one where I don't feel to I don't have to worry about the violence because it's very cutesy and the sprites are huge, so it's very clear what's going on in the game. Those are the ones I'm working on right now. I want to go back to the Mummy. Now that all these challenges are done, I'm like ready to just go and complete games. I've been kind of holding back, just trying to focus on that one game, and then also these contests that we're going to be talking about pretty soon. So yeah, I'm ready to just kind of like pedal to the metal, knock out one or two more, and then see what's what.
All right. Well, if you're not sick of Guacamelee talk yet, you might be soon. Michelle and her brother and I finally started it.
Yay.
3-player co-op. And we played for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Probably over 2 hours. We did run into an achievement-related snafu. Whoa.
Speaking of snafus.
Oh, I hit mute.
And apparently if you have multiple profiles logged in, it can stop achievements from popping, as I sadly found out. So there was an achievement that I missed out on for defeating a boss.
Now I get why you're complaining.
And I quit out to try to do it again, but it had auto-saved right after. I have to do the game on hard anyway, so I didn't start over or anything like that, so we'll keep on trucking. But it was disheartening. And I actually did contact Drinkbox Studio support, and they said it is a known issue and that they're looking at it, so hopefully it's not just lip service and they actually look at it, because that would be something to look at for the future.
Having never played the game in true co-op, how is it different?
I would say the battles are way more fun, but the platforming is a little more frustrating.
Do you have to wait for somebody to get to the same side of the screen as you?
You do and you don't. There's a trick where if you hit L and R together, you turn into the bubble, which is, so if you die, you turn into a bubble and you have like 9 or 10 seconds to respawn. But you could just turn into the bubble on purpose and let the person that's best handle the platforming. Because if you don't do that, you have to, either everyone has to get across perfectly, or the camera will pan and just follow one person and it gets a little hectic.
Right, and the camera specifically focuses on the main profiles. Whoever's won, that's who the camera will follow. So if you have someone who isn't Juan but is doing better at the platforming elements, and Juan just sort of stands down at the bottom of the screen, eventually they can't see where they're going. The camera will only pan out a little bit. So that, I feel like Guacamelee 1 was a little more forgiving with that, or the rooms were designed in such a way where that wasn't as present an issue, although it was there. And when we played Guacamelee, the first one, did we play it with my brother the entire time through? I felt like we played it with the two of us.
No, we played mostly 2 players. It wasn't as bad.
Right.
And I feel like there weren't as many platforming parts.
Right. So I think
like
the addition of a third person definitely changes things. And my brother is really good at that platforming stuff. So most of the times it's just hit right bumper and left bumper and let him do his thing and collect the chest, and then we're on our way.
So if you have more people on screen, does that mean the fights are easier?
No, they add enemies.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have anything to compare to in the second game and the first game for sure. We definitely did single player versus 2 players, and they definitely add a lot more enemies. But it's still better because you could respawn.
Right. I would be interested to watch you play it to see how different it looks.
What happens with the
Go ahead.
What happens with the light and dark switching? Like, do you all switch to the same?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I would.
They probably haven't got to that yet.
Well, in the first game, we would constantly be hitting it at the same time, and it would just cancel each other out. So, if that answers your question.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It becomes an interesting piece of communication because you kind of have to assign someone the role of the person switching between dark and light, so that you're not all doing that. But you can't help yourself because you're focused on your battle. As Elle said, there were more enemies, and we'll confirm this in Guacamelee 2 at some point. But there are more enemies on the screen, so you're in 3 different places fighting 3 different battles. You're not frequently right next to each other. So you just switch because you're trying to take care of your enemy, and you just totally screw someone else over, and they lose. And so on the hard mode, it was very notable, like how much more we had to focus on making sure we weren't hurting each other by switching for our own means.
Wow. See, now I want to see a 4-player run on like games done quick.
That'd be awesome.
Well, maybe one time when my brother joins us, we can throw it up on Mixer and you can take a look at what the difference is.
Yeah, definitely. And then my last question, Elle, have you tried going in to adjust the screen size?
No, I'm not.
When you're about to die? Just in case.
No, I have not tried that. But I never died in that game. I'm too good.
You're
so I've
very
never tried.
good at video games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, he only chooses to die by hitting right and left bumper at the same time.
I never actually
He doesn't
died,
actually.
He's just trying to make you feel better, I guess, when you're playing, Michelle.
I know where my skill level is at. I'm comfortable with it.
Yep. All right, moving on to Cake. Freemhold just celebrated his birthday on February 4th. Happy birthday to Freem.
Put your clothes back on, Elle. He's not here.
Come on, guys. Don't you want to see my little Hangman? Tropan. Tropan's birthday is tomorrow as we're recording this, February 6th. So happy birthday to him as well.
Happy birthday to both of you.
Yes. Happy birthday.
Happy.
All right. That's all the proclamations you have to offer today, right?
As far as I know.
Cool.
Cool.
So now we get into the meat of the panel this week. First up, some Discord housekeeping. If you are not in the Discord, come join. If you are, you've noticed a new channel, an RTDL channel. So what this channel does and is for is to discuss and talk about the random to-do list competition. But the coolest part about it is we worked with, basically we asked ZZ Urban Spaceman.
Thanks, man.
If he could hook us up with they call them webhooks in Discord. Basically, it's a bot that posts the unlocks of the random to-do list in the Discord, so for everybody to see, and it's to say who it was, what they unlocked in what game, and I think it even has the points and everything. It has hyperlinks, and it's really slick, and it's a very cool thing, and we're so happy that he was able to help us out. Again, there's a whole channel for it. If you don't know what that is and you want to look into it or sign up, look for the pin post in that channel, and that we have links to where you have to go and what you have to do. That is the RTDL that's hosted, I guess, by Real Gamer Score podcast. So thanks again.
Yes, I believe to enter, they have a gamer tag to send a TA PM to.
That's right. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it's called. It's in the pin. It's either RTDL or random to-do list or something like that. But
I think it's Real Gamer Score, but yeah. I could be wrong.
Is it?
I think they have a random to-do list tag.
Yeah, this tag is specifically for random to-do list.
Well, reading's hard for me, so.
Yeah, I mean, and, you got to get those bifocals.
Briefly, if you don't know what that is, basically you get a list of 25 achievements to go for in the month. And you just have to have at least 1,000 achievements available to you.
Yeah, it's random to-do list, no spaces is the friend on TA.
And there's a little more to it. You can, and in some ways, depending on how you want to play, are encouraged to curate your collection on TA. So what that means is you go into your game collection and you just change the status of games you don't want in the contest to unowned or not available, something like that, so that they don't draw. And it's a good strategy if you're looking to try to get the list to bring up games that you're more likely to play in a month. The list does try to pull from certain brackets based on ratio, so that you won't wind up with a list that's all the high-end achievements from Master Chief Collection. So make sure if you're going to curate your list that you don't just leave your very lowest ratio stuff or highest ratio stuff, because it's trying to pick across a spread of the different ratios you have. Elle's really into RTDL, and I'm sure you could tell us a lot more about the different leaderboards and this universal leaderboard or global leaderboard from like the beginning, right? That's also been added.
Yes. Not to toot my own horn, but I sit atop the lifetime leaderboards, but that's probably because I'm the only one that's paid attention to it for so long. My rival NBA Kirkland was taunting me about how he was number one, and then it changed, and then I was number one. So he's probably going to be gunning for me.
It's been
Wanda's
nice
husband,
since
a little rascal.
the RTDL room opened up on the Discord to really see people participating in it. I know we've talked about it, and some people did requests to join, and many of us came over from the Z2Z community, so we were already participating. But just its presence in there definitely seems to have people more engaged. So that's awesome. And hopefully even more people will join from month to month, because you can play it very casually. I feel like, other than L, most of us are more on the casual side with it. And you can completely do that.
Yeah, I definitely have spurts.
Whoa,
I've gotten a full combo before, and I've definitely gotten in the 20s a few times. But right now I'm kind of on that low side. It's like, I'm just get my one for the month.
But you don't need one to stay in it anymore. Once you're part of random to-do list,
That's
you
true.
just
Yep.
stay on there unless you request for some reason to be removed. What about you, Kush? Are you pretty casual about it?
Oh, I'm pretty.
Okay.
So I do not curate. I did curate a little bit, but it just got to be a pain. And then with all the other contests on TA, like the Ultimate Head-to-Head, there are restrictions. Basically, if I wanted to curate to get the stuff that I wanted from my collection, I would overrun the amount that I'm allowed to curate. So I just said, you know what, bang it. I'll just do what I do. And then I used to use the RTDL to kind of inform what I should be playing. But this year is a lot more structured for me in terms of, the Metroidvania challenge, and then also the completion challenge. And then there's just a lot of cool indies coming out. So I am not finding it difficult to know what to play this year, for sure. In the past, I used to like to get, it would come out, it would be exciting, you'd get 5, something like that. Don't look on the charts to see if I'm lying, but that's what I would like to do is to just sort of jump start it, get some stuff, look for some, some places where I could slot RTDL achievements into some of the other things, like the gamer tag challenge, the gamer tag challenge, and all those sorts of things that are just going on. So I used to like to sit there and plan and kind of, get the matrix, see the matrix, and how I could get all these achievements to work and be efficient. But now, not so much. I like to go in and maybe get one a month. So,
Yeah, I had that moment yesterday. I was going through, and we'll talk about it in a minute, the Hangman challenge, but I needed a C achievement, and I had a C achievement on my random to-do list. So I was all right, let's just blend these two, and that worked out great. It took me longer than I expected, but got it done for both. It's nice when you can line up everything that way.
Yeah, it's funny. I wasn't even shooting for RTDL achievements this month. I think I've already got 2 or 3. One was from the Game Pass quest for Metro 2033 Redux. I got one for that. I guess it was as I was trying to get my achievement for the Gamer Pass. I got an achievement done for the RTDL, and then also for the Hangman, I got an achievement in. I don't even remember what game it was, but I looked and I was like, oh, there's my name. That's weird. So I had popped one I wasn't even intending. I think that might be the first time that's happened.
I did that last month. L completed iZombie, and I was like, all right. I was working on Kingsman 2625 for the gamer tag challenge last month, and I didn't finish, but iZombie is an iGame. Great, I'll do that. So I finished the game, and it turned out not only did I get a random to-do list achievement I wasn't expecting, that Elle and I had the same random to-do list achievement that we both got that month.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty hard. Well, not hard. It's pretty rare for that to happen if you're not paying attention to your list. But might as well go ahead and talk about it. You two have both mentioned it. There is a new competition, whatever you want. Actually, community challenge. That's the best way to put it. There's a new community challenge over on True Achievements, and that is the Hangman challenge that both Kush and Matrarch have mentioned. And if you're not familiar with what it is, it's a blend of a classic word game and video games. So at the start of the challenge, you are assigned a random phrase. You don't know what the phrase is, but you do know how many letters the phrase contains. Your only other hints are punctuation is given to you. So if you see an apostrophe, that limits what it might be, and Basically, what you're trying to do is solve this phrase. Now, how you're doing it is by unlocking achievements, and you take the first letter of the achievement. That's your guess for a particular character in order to solve this phrase. Now, what makes this challenging is that you only have 8 lives, because in the classic sense of the game Hangman, you draw the little person, and once that drawing is complete, you lose. So this is a community challenge that you can lose. Just be forewarned. And let's see. So, like I said, you get your phrase that is a mystery, and you unlock achievements and use the first character in order to guess a character for your phrase. And if you get it, great. You're one step closer to finishing it. And if that letter is duplicated or there multiple times, they're all populated, so you don't have to unlock a bunch of A's if that's what you have in your thing. Just one A will do. And if you miss, that's one life taken away. So
yeah, I would say for those people, and I was one of them, that are concerned about the fact that you can fail this challenge, for the most part, it's pretty difficult to fail. Most of the codes or the secret phrases that we've kind of alluded to one another, because one of the other side things with this challenge is do not tell other people what your phrase was, because there's something like 35 or 36 of them, so their phrases are repeating. So if you put your phrase out there, you might spoil the fun for someone else. But most of the phrases have 12, 15, 17 unique letters. You have 8 strikes. Most of them don't have a Q, an X, or a Z. So you do have to, for most of the phrases, try pretty hard to actually miss out on what you need. It's not impossible, and there are some phrases that are shorter. If you have 12 letters in your phrase, you obviously have more potential. I know my phrase was, I think, 17 unique or 16 unique letters. So it's only 10 letters in the rest of the alphabet, and there was no Q, X, or Z. So it would have been very hard for me to wind up with a failure accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys?
Yeah, mine was
12. I had 16.
Mine was 12 unique letters as well. But to circumvent you not, auto failing, if you just decide to go on an achievement binge and you haven't started this competition yet, there is a start button that you choose when to start it. So you don't choose your letters in the form of you unlock an A, B, and a C, and you choose, I want to use the A and the C, but not the B. It's going to automatically choose the A, the B, and the C in the order that you unlock them to use your guesses. So you do have to play strategically to that factor. But I forgot where I was going with that.
Yeah, you can't really strategize or you can't do too much thinking ahead, because you can't pause the competition or the challenge. So you just have to make sure when you're popping achievements, like I had 2 achievements I popped on the way towards getting my Hangman challenge done, that at the same time another achievement popped. And both of those instances, the other achievement that popped, neither of them was a letter I needed. So I had 2 strikes during the competition. There's no way for you to select, listen, I know there's no K in my phrase, but because I started the competition, that K was considered part of it. I think you were probably going somewhere around there, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it was. I just kind of lost it there because I ran into the similar things. I wasn't going to change my gaming habits at the start of it, so I hit start and I just played normally that day. And from then on, the next day, I looked at my phrase and what I had unlocked, what I hadn't, and I kind of went from there. And the back half, I have somewhat of a game plan. But definitely that first part, I knew I wasn't going to unlock a ton of achievements, so I just kind of played normally and see what the world gave me.
Yep. Kush, did you finish your Hangman challenge yet?
Yeah, I did, and I had I think 15 unique letters. I had 3 wrong guesses, 2 of which were achievements that I accidentally popped in Infinity Runner on the way to the achievement I was actually trying to get.
Yeah, that is a bad game for this competition.
Yeah, it really is. Because I had forgotten what a fight was, or they called it a battle, and I was like, I just turned this corner in this hallway, and next thing I know, I'm fighting this guy, and all of a sudden an achievement pops, and I'm like, what? That's not the one I was going for. And then 2 hallways later, another pop. So yeah, but yeah, I was able to complete it. I was not familiar with my phrase, so it did take me pretty much to the end to actually get it, and I was like, oh man, yeah, I should have known that.
Well, we will not say phrases, but of course you help each other. We've also, many of us in Discord have shown each other our phrases before letters are filled in, or with maybe one letter filled in, just so that others can see and guess. So El had shown me his phrase, what he had done. I'm like, okay, I see what this is. So I showed him my phrase, and he looked at it, he goes, oh, I figured out what it is. We didn't have the same phrase, but they are so similar that they may as well have been. So once he was like, oh, I can figure it out, and it's close to mine. I figured it out, and then as soon as you get it, it's like you have to finish that phrase because you want to go back to your normal gaming habits, like you were saying, Corey.
Yeah. You once you start it, if you don't want to fail, you have to cater to the competition. That's for sure.
What about you, El?
What about me?
You want to talk about your experience with the Hangman Challenge?
Yes, I mean, considering that I had 16 unique letters and couldn't have failed too easily, I was still silly enough to stay up until 2 in the morning finishing the damn thing last night. So I wouldn't have to think about it anymore. But it was fun. I got to play some games I haven't been playing in a while, such as WWE 2K19, which I got at launch, but I haven't done too much with, so I got a few in there. And I got a few in the Limbo clone Planet of the Eyes. That was a good one. It got me a few. So I enjoyed the competition overall, or the contest. I believe it ends March 4th?
Yeah.
I think it was slated to end February 18th, but they amended it to March 4th. That's what I think happened.
It's a little long. I would have thought it would have been a little quicker.
Well, not everyone
I know.
is as intense as we are.
One thing that's interesting about this is I haven't figured it out yet is usually in the hub spaces for these challenges, there's a leaderboard. And I understand they don't want to show the phrases for everybody, but I'm surprised there's no leaderboard that just shows who completed it. Usually you can get a sense of however many people, like when you're doing the 12 Days of Christmas challenge, you see that little check mark that says 3,000 people have completed this day. And there's no way, almost 3,000 people registered for this, I believe. And there's no way to tell at this point how many have completed it.
That is true.
I have an idea. This is for Freem. So in the future, you want to make this competitive. You start out like you have, but you let people continue to unlock more puzzles, and the further along you get, the harder they go, the less letters that there are. But it's permadeath. So if you fail, you are off the leaderboard.
Very nice.
Not a bad idea.
And is this just like if you're playing Hangman where the Hangman resets with every new letter? You're not like doing some super difficult mode where you get 8 incorrect guesses through the whole thing, correct?
Either way. At first I was thinking 8 lives per puzzle, but I guess you could make it, one big long thing. See how far you can get.
Heyo. I did want to say that Chin Doctor swears and up and down that he was the first to finish. So
we'll never know. We'll never know.
It was 6 a.m. my time. I woke up and he was like, I'm done. I'm like, oh, well, okay.
I saw that message too
day.
when I woke up in the morning. I'm like, of course you're done, Chin. But he did very well to get that done. And I think, Corey, you said your phrase you're going to finish in the next however long.
Yes. On my way to 200,000 right before the show, I unlocked 4 more. So I have 3 more unique letters to unlock. And I know what they are, so
maybe in a couple of weeks we'll share our phrases.
Yeah, at the end of the month we'll go through it.
And in breaking news, there are actually stat pages.
Oh, there are.
So if you go to your homepage and then you and you go look at the Hangman box and you click into there, and so you get to see your Hangman board. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you look on the right, there's actually a link that will take you to the Hangman page again, and one of the tabs there is stats, so you can see.
But the stats,
it's fairly light. It's
just like
light.
The games that
game
were
specific.
used.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really how many people have completed it, how many people have actually started. It's really not that kind of data.
Yeah, it's not the exact same.
Though.
It did show that there were just over 3,000 registrants. It doesn't really tell you, who did what and who completed. but you can actually see the stuff on the games that were used. So that's kind of fun. But
Sure.
So there is some light stat tracking that they've been doing like previously, and next time they run this, maybe they'll include a little more.
TA is usually pretty good about the stats deep dive once these things are done, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. And we'd be remiss to not take a moment to thank the community events team at TA. I know Freemhole especially was a big motivator behind this particular contest. They're always coming up with new things for us to do and new ways to sort of engage with TA and the tracking TA offers. This was fun. It's the first time. Of course, there are going to be suggestions for things to make it better, but this was a really great first go. For the 3 hours or so I was actively working on getting these achievements, it was fun, that rush of going through my list and figuring out where am I going to get an achievement with this letter. So great job, and thanks as always for all the work you're putting in to make TA just a little more fun for the rest of us.
Yep, it's a great community event, and what do you know, we had our own community event this past week as well. Do you remember the Hawken boost from a few weeks ago? That was a fun time, right?
It's great.
So basically, if you're in the Discord, you saw that Hawken room kind of evolved into a quick start Uno session. And, well, what do you know? We made a TA session, and we had 9 people show up from the community, and we knocked out Uno on the Xbox One.
Uno!
Yes, Uno. And we split up into 2 groups again because the rules of Uno state you can only have 4 players. And you're asking me, hey, we had 9 people. Well, yes, we did. David MCC 1989. He showed up on time, just like as we as we said we would, and we planned. But he only had a few achievements, in-game achievements left, and so we got him those, and we swapped him out for Carpe Adam.
When did you start? Because he's in the UK, I believe.
Yeah, we started at 8 o'clock my time, so it's 8 o'clock Central.
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty
Like
early
2 in the
for him.
morning over there.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Good man.
So like I said, we got him done quick, and we swapped him out for Adam. And my group was Adam, Petart, Kronos, and myself. And the other group was Chin, What the Fug, Death Dealers, which I think... What is his other alias?
Dark Lord Davis?
That was Dino.
No, wait, that's Dinobot.
Dino Bull?
Dino.
Yeah.
I was
Isn't that
thinking of...
That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's him. And then Fufu Cuddly Poof. And I think he brought his wife, but she did not officially sign up for the session, it looks like. Anyways, it was a few hour boost, and like I said, we split in 2 groups, 2 parties, and my group, we had a great time talking, great discussion, and everybody across the boost got the completion. So,
That's excellent.
the best part about it, though, is if you don't know Uno, the achievement list, the 2, well, really only 1 achievement that probably sucks the most is you have to successfully challenge wild draw 4 cards, and that's very difficult to do with bots. There is a solution that states how you can kind of get them into that path, but you have to turn on certain rules and whatnot to do it. Kronos had a great epiphany right when we got to this achievement, because we did others first, and he's going to upload a new solution for that soon. But it worked fabulous for our group. Basically, we the gist of it is we drew the whole deck, and almost everybody had one of the 4 draw 4s, and we basically played it, challenged, moved on all the way across, and that achievement, which probably takes many hours, we knocked it out in probably less than a half hour for the 4 of us. So it was awesome. I don't believe this because our session lasted longer than an hour, but TA has me at an hour 10 minutes for the game.
Wow.
I only played maybe an hour at most before our session, so it was a great completion for me because it was my partner in crime, Kronos' random game for a BCM, and he knocked it out of 2, obviously, so it was a double double scoring thing for us in that competition. So
Excellent.
I think
If you
that's
look at
all
the
we
completion
had.
leaderboard, it says you are at 4 hours 11 minutes. So that's
Okay, well, this was from the TA session, so maybe that was prior.
yeah, maybe.
4 hours seems right because
And
it was
Chin was
about a
there
3 hour
too?
session. Chin was there.
This guy.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see all these names together on the list.
Yeah, so that was a great time. So we don't know what the next community boost will hold, but I'm sure there'll be a one soon. I think there was an impromptu Halo session last night though, with some UKers and some USers.
US.
Who knows what's next though? Discord is the place to be though for the first to find out information and first signups most likely. So you definitely want to be there if you're not.
All right.
Last competition is the FOOF challenge, and we have the matriarch of the FOOF challenge here, Matrarch.
Oh, how about that?
And yes, do you want to talk about the first month officially?
Sure. So I know you guys talked about it a little bit last month and kind of went over our own stats, at least as I had them tracked to that time. So I went through on February 1st or 2nd or so and actually grabbed everyone's stats for the month of January in full. Right now there are 68 people participating in the leaderboard on TA, and if you're still interested in joining the FRAC, the FOOF's Ridiculous Annual Achievement Challenge 2019, you can go ahead and still join the leaderboard. There's no reason to not do that since your January stats are tracked anyways. So I went through everyone's period summary and just pulled down that information. Of the 68 people that are currently on the leaderboard, 30 are actually fully on pace to hit their FOOF. So good job. I am not one of those people. So I've got to pick it up in the month of February. Just want...
Shame.
I know. I've got to turn in my FOOF card, I guess. But just to highlight some of the folks that hang out in Discord that have done awesome in the first month, we have Jimbot, who's currently in the lead with 41,960 gamer score in 1 month. So he's on pace to have this done about when you had wanted to get to 200,000 gamer score over your Xbox lifetime, Corey. So good job there. Toadstyle Venom, Stan, he's got 25,000, a little more than that this month. Prue has put up 20,000 points. Elroy. No,
Love that guy.
There we go. 19,000-ish points. Tropan put up over 16,000. Wakapeil with almost 16,000. I don't know how you guys have this time. Chin at a lowly 11th place somehow with a little over 15,000.
He's playing Kingdom Hearts, Japanese and American, that's why.
That's true, but that's mostly going to affect this month, I think. Well, I guess end of January. We have X the Hero, who keeps telling us in Discord he's had no time for games, but still somehow put up 12,660 points in the month of January. Rocker Dude, who is on this panel somehow.
That's me.
Yay, put up over 12,000 points. So good job there. Isrit had almost 12,000 points. What the Fug, also almost 12,000 points. Crap Adam, almost 12,000 points.
Don't call Crap Adam
sorry,
that.
sorry. I don't know that he's had or she's had opportunity to speak. Sorry, I don't know from the gamer tag, and I can't pronounce it, but it's Happy Bivouac, Happy something beginning with a B, who joined the Discord recently. So welcome aboard. Had over 11,000. Mike Pitch, who when he entered the competition was saying like, I'm not sure how I'll do. Also over 10,000. Kingsman over 10,000. I mean, you guys just really killed it. L at just over 10,000, 10,012. So good job. Daniel JJ also at just under 10,000. Beer Me at just under 10,000. So that's all the folks that are active in the Discord who are over their FOOF pace. If I missed anyone, my apologies. We'll get you next week. So I just want to make sure you all were shouted out and keep up the good work, or keep up somehow finding 27 hours a day to play video games. Also just wanted to say briefly that in the month of February, I'm running a small contest for anyone who is participating. all I'm asking you to do is earn what the monthly average would be to get your FOOF done. So that's 8,333.33 repeating. So we'll round up to 8,334 gamer score this month. So anyone who gets that in the month of February will be entered into a drawing and will win something up to about $10 of their choosing. So if you want a month of Game Pass, if you'd rather pick up a game, that's fine. So I will do that at the end of the month and probably announce the winner that first weekend in March. So that's everything I have to say about the FOOF.
That's very nice of you, Michelle.
I didn't realize when I asked for time this week to shout out the couple people in the Discord who were doing really well that it would be that big a list of people. So again, really great job. And I know everyone's also working on random to-do list and they're working on the Hangman challenge now. So everyone.
Speaking of random to-do list.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there was we were talking about earlier how last month you and I got the same iZombie achievement.
Mm-hmm.
We forgot to mention that this month we got the same Saints Row the Third achievement.
Yes, we did.
And we're playing the game in co-op, and it was called Tune In, Drop Off. And that, of course, is for completing all instances of trafficking, which is one of the nicer things you do in the game. And, we stayed up late, and we were all excited for it to appear together in the Discord, and for some reason it didn't. I believe I was told that since I'm a little more active that I get scanned more frequently. Was that what was determined?
There were lots of guesses about what possibly could have happened. There's something odd too, because most of the times it scans at 10 past the hour, but your scans tend to come right on the hour. So something's a little bizarre there.
Oh, okay. Well, while I'm looking at it still, I'm going to quickly read off the top 10 for February random to-do list. With honorable mention to number 27 on the list, Rocker Dude.
That's me.
With an astounding 1 achievement for February.
To be honest, I did that to kind of test the bot.
Well, it worked.
It worked.
You were one of the first. Koshmos, number 20, has 2 achievements.
Like I said, they were surprises.
and Michelle's at number 12 with 3 achievements.
Hey.
But actually, it's not always quantity of achievements. It's the score attached to each achievement gets a score, which goes along with the ratio. So in other words, an achievement with a 1.10 ratio will be worth 110 points, and so forth and so on. So the higher the ratio, the more points it's worth. With that said, I'll do a quick rundown. Number 10, What the Fug? Number 9, BenL72. Kingsman is number 8. Z to Z, look at this. Freem, number 7, and Prue, number 6.
Ooh. A little reunion tour at the top 10 board.
They're holding hands. Number 5 is Wanda's husband, who's nipping at my heels. I'm number 4. Number 3 is Fresh 336669, and the Eagles also suck, so just wanted to let you know that. Reset 42 is number 2, and number 1, Homer. No! So good job, everybody, with all of our contests. Really, really exciting stuff to be a part of.
Homer's been killing it in random to-do list the last couple months.
Yeah, he really loves it.
That's awesome.
Well, if you ever wanted to join the RTDL, you already know how to do that. And we mentioned curating. I have some games that you can add to your list for the month of March, next month. And those are new Game Pass editions. They were just announced, and we have them for you. So the first one is Crackdown 3. We already knew about that one. That one is coming February 15th.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is The Walking Dead Season 1. If for some reason you don't have that, I don't know how. The third one would be The Blob. Never played that one, but it's there.
What?
He just sounds very excited about The Blob.
I have no clue what it is.
It's kind of a paint blobby platformer.
That's such a great way to describe it.
Yeah.
It was built for the Wii initially, Splatoon. So it was built sort of a little gimmicky, but it's a fun game.
Yeah, it's a fun little puzzle platformer dealing with paint, and maybe you might want to call it a precursor to What was that?
The Blob 2?
Yeah, exactly. Very good. The Ink Kids. What's the Ink Kids
Splatoon.
on Nintendo?
Splatoon, yeah.
there you
It's
go.
very similar, the idea of sort of painting the ground, but it just doesn't have that competitive aspect that Splatoon does.
Nice. Well, we also have Pumped BMX Pro, the sequel to what's it called? Pump BMX Plus.
Yep.
I think. I've never played, but Kush is excited for it.
I'm very excited. Yep.
We also have the Batman Arkham
Return to Arkham, I think.
Return to Arkham,
Which is both of them.
which is a bundle. So
Yeah.
actually, this is 2 games you're getting. The Batman remasters, which are new list on the Xbox One, and Arkham Asylum is a Metroidvania.
Yay.
So, and then rounding out this list of 6 is a big hitter. It's Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So,
When did that come out? Like November?
very recently in terms of AAA games. So not a bad month if you ask me. I'm personally excited for Pump to BMX Pro and Crackdown 3. Both of those will be played this month by me. So, yeah, go ahead, Kush.
I'm just wondering how many people are going to be able to complete all those games before they drop off.
I will.
Someone with some skill.
What's the Blob's probably Walking Dead's probably the easiest. The Blob's probably one of the other quick ones, right?
Yeah, well, I would say probably like 10, 20, something like that.
We don't know Pumped BMX, but the first one was fairly skill based, right?
Yeah, the ending achievements are definitely skill based, I would say.
The Batman ones are pretty straightforward. Straightforward list, and no surprises there. I really haven't looked at Crackdown, so I can't tell you on that one, but I did hear on Inside Xbox that orbs are back, and there are more of them. So we take that for whatever it means, and if there's an achievement tied to it, who knows? But and then Shadow of the Tomb Raider obviously is probably another 60-hour game, my guess.
Now for Crackdown, are we under the assumption that there's 2 separate launchers? Because I believe
Yeah.
So
2 different.
I think
things
that's been confirmed. There is 2 different game tiles for multiplayer and single player. There has not been a secondary list put out yet. There's just been a single player list.
Okay. Well, I'm not looking at that list,
I
but
don't
it
know.
should be same as the other one.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm probably going to go to it fairly blind and look forward to it. Any do you have a personal favorite from that 6?
Of course, Crackdown 3.
Crackdown, yep. Figured.
Which
Michelle?
I imagine campaign and multiplayer will be something that we will be talking about. Hopefully it's good.
I hope that there's multiplayer achievements, to be honest. Get a little group together.
Absolutely.
Michelle, do you have a favorite?
Other than Crackdown 3? Because, I mean, that's obviously my
Yeah,
answer.
sure.
Oh, no, Crackdown 3 for sure is it. And maybe looking... I'm not going to kid anybody. No, I'm not going to get to any of the rest of these. I still have to finish Walking Dead Season 1, actually, but I have the game from when it was Games with Gold. So its addition to Game Pass is a great value add for people who are new. And we have to keep that in mind when they're building the Game Pass library, that it's not built for people like us who are going to spend money on games anyway. It's a way to try to get people who are not part of the Xbox ecosystem excited for it. So it's a great add there, but not going to make any difference in what I have. I just had one side thought before you go further with this particular topic. They had asked recently on Twitter, the Game Pass team, like, what things can we do to improve Game Pass? And I really wish that when they announced these games, they would announce how long the license is going to last.
That would certainly be nice.
So one thing I'd like to see that, we're announcing DeBlob. DeBlob is scheduled to be removed no earlier than May of 2019. So they can always extend it. But this way, from the moment you get in there, that if you're going to pick this game, you have to prioritize it based on when it's due to leave the service. Because I might look into something like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but if it's possibly going to go away in a couple months and I just sort of bean dive it, that's no longer a good option for me.
Yeah, and I'm sure we all have those games that we're kind of like eyeballing and hoping that they don't get put on the list, but because we know as soon as they do, then our focus has to be turned.
Right.
I have two. The Metroidvania is on Game Pass. Shantae's Curse and Dandara. I'm counting those as I'm going to play them, but I don't have them on the super short list.
Yeah.
So I hope that they're sticking around.
I started the Sherlock Holmes game that was on Game Pass during UHH, and now I have to keep my eyes out for sales that maybe one day it'll drop low enough so I can have it in my collection to continue playing it. So it's always the risk. So that would be the one change to Game Pass I wish they would make so we can make more informed decisions about what we're going to do with our gaming time.
Yeah, that would certainly be nice, like I said. Koosh, I have a suspicion what you might pick, but what is your favorite?
Yeah, it's tough, man. This is a great month for Game Pass, or a great ad for Game Pass. I'm gonna surprise you. I'm actually more excited about Crackdown 3.
What?
Yeah. I know where you're going. Crackdown 3. I'm more excited because there's gonna be people playing it. When the first two Crackdowns came out, I only had like 2 or 3 people that I was playing Crackdown type games with. So it's exciting to be in a community that's going to be going for this stuff. So that's probably the one I'm gonna shoot for first, and then of course I'm gonna be playing Pumped BMX Pro. I'm gonna be chipping away at it. That is the type of game I like to play. Like I said, when I've got 10-15 minutes, just go in, just knock out some of that fun gameplay challenges and levels and score challenges. It is a fun little game.
Is that similar to a Trials type game? What type of game is it?
So it is a little bit like a Trials game. I just went back in getting ready for Pumped BMX Pro. I did a little bit of Pumped BMX Plus, I believe is the name. I just went back and just tried it out. It is a little bit like a Trials game. It is very much, it's about tricks, it's about score, it's about challenges, but there's also this feature or enable... Man, you're going to have to edit this. I'm stuttering. The way to get through these levels requires essentially a perfect run as you start getting farther into the levels, because what you're doing is you're controlling your pump, right? So when you get to the apex of your jump, you're going to want to hit the A button to kind of like pump down towards the ground. So you're building up speed. If you don't do that, there are going to be jumps in the level that you're not going to be able to get past. And then that's basically a failed run. Nothing you did counts. You're going to have to do it again. So you're going to have to master it going through. So it's kind of like Trials in that it is definitely skill-based, but it is not exactly like Trials.
All right.
Okay. We have one more section left before we close class, and that is the weekly BCM Freemhole Completion Challenge Primer. And today's category that we're going to look at is I Promise There Are Xbox Exclusives. The challenge to complete an Xbox exclusive title. Now, we just mentioned several. We mentioned one that's coming to Game Pass. So let's see if that makes the cut for any of these people. So, Koosh, let's start with you. What Xbox exclusive title are you going to try to complete this year?
This year, I'm already gunning for several Metroidvanias that are Xbox exclusive, those being Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. Yeah, they're out for the PC, but it's not on PS4 or Nintendo. So it's not an easy completion, but I'm going to be doing it anyway. So I'm gonna try to sync these two up. If I hadn't already done it, I would maybe be looking at Deadlight for the 360, because that is a pretty easy completion. It's a little bit expensive, so I would, if you're thinking that this might be a fun game, you could wait for a sale. There's also the remastered version for the Xbox One. It's about the same price, but it does have a few extra achievements, and I think they I did notice that the TA on those is definitely higher than the other achievements, so I'm not sure how difficult that is, but that might be something that people would want to consider.
Fun fact, Freemhole wrote the walkthrough for Deadlight 360.
That is a fun fact.
It is. Thanks for sharing. That kind of actually brings to an interesting point. when I first read this question, I was thinking first party games only, and so it's interesting that you mentioned a non first party exclusive there. So yeah, I'll go ahead and go. All of these challenges so far have been fairly easy for me. I bragged about it last week, but I completed Sunset Overdrive, so that is my done and dusted Xbox exclusive title.
That's a
I
really
don't think
good
a lot
one.
of first. Yeah, I loved it. And if I get a new PC this year, able to build one, I will play the Win 10 version too. But thinking about it, a lot of first party Microsoft games are not, necessarily easy completions or at least quick ones. So glad to have that one done for the year myself. Elliot, you have a plan? You just gonna wing it?
Is Crackdown 3 going to come out? Is that an exclusive
according
game?
to Fufu, no.
All right, so no, I'm gonna say Crackdown 3, and hopefully the list doesn't have anything excessively hard. Grindy, I'm okay with, but hopefully nothing.
Did you complete Crackdown 1 or 2?
Yes, to both.
Did you complete them within 11 months?
Yeah, once we started it,
Yeah?
we did. Sure,
Okay.
we actually stuck with those games. I believe.
I figured it would be one of those, 9-year gaps for you.
I don't think so.
No, there was a time, about 5 or 6 years ago, that if we picked a game, we played that game 3 or 4 nights a week until we finished that game. And obviously with life changing and responsibilities changing, and also how we like to play games changing, it's harder and harder to commit to that. But that's definitely, I hope, the plan with Crackdown 3, that all these other projects where it's a day here and a day there and whatever are going to be put aside, and this is going to be the focus title for a little while until we get through at least the campaign and hopefully a majority, if not all, of the achievements.
Yeah, I'm trying to focus on that, where I stick to one main game at a time. So hopefully I can do that with Crackdown and knock out a lot of it. So
Wow.
it'll take a hit to the Metroidvania challenge, but
Well, unless we can get Chin
I'm planning for
to
it.
maybe reclass Crackdown 3 as a Metroidvania.
I think you have to
Yeah,
go
Chin.
back and then you have to double jump over this one section. Yeah,
I couldn't get there
qualifies.
before I got all the agility orbs.
Yeah,
Totally
exactly.
a Metroidvania.
So,
Rock the boat.
so Crackdown 1
Um,
we did from October 2012 to December 2012.
Nice.
Crackdown 2, it looks like we started in April 2015 and finished in August. So
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Focus.
Michelle, do you have an exclusive title you will complete this year?
I actually had a thought. I put Crackdown 3 down because for the same reasons we just discussed. Just hoping that we'll be able to complete it in a reasonable time and all that sort of stuff. But when we say Xbox exclusive titles, does that just mean Xbox exclusive to consoles? So if it's available on Steam, that's still okay? Or does Steam invalidate something from being exclusive?
Interesting point.
I think Freem is more. He always leans towards, just have fun with it.
Right.
So I think
Yeah.
he would give it a pass if it's Steam and PC and Xbox. I think as long as it's not on some other console.
Okay.
PlayStation, Nintendo. I think for the most part he's gonna say if it's got achievements. Or the version you're playing has achievements, and so maybe the PC has it. I think you'd be all right. I found it very hard, to pick an exclusive. I was going through the list, and I was just like, geez, I'm not really, either I've already completed it, or it's kind of slim pickings. It's kind of sad.
Well, I discovered that as long as Steam or PC base doesn't count, and unless my Google Foo really wasn't working this afternoon, that seems like a game I very recently completed that I just finished putting almost 80 hours into, Lily's Epic Quest for Lost Gems, actually only released on Xbox One. I don't think it released on PlayStation 4 or Switch. So, if that's the case, I may already have this one in the bag and be done with it.
Congratulations on that completion. I didn't see that happen.
Yeah.
I did, and it's a massive one.
It's not that the game is that hard. There's some things that are not made clear. So the way you open certain levels, you may have to replay a previous level and find a different exit, and it's not clear, and there are no guides. So you kind of have to figure it out. And I've already forgotten everything I did, so I can't even contribute to a guide. So it's not that it's hard, it's just very time consuming. It's an 80-hour match 3 game, which isn't that unusual. Bejeweled has the crown at that with 200 hours or so. But again, given everything for the challenge, that might count. If that doesn't count and Crackdown 3 don't work out, the last time I was here, I was speaking with Ryan about how we both have to complete Gears 2. So that may finally, again, be another motivator for completing Gears of War 2, which definitely counts as an exclusive title.
Is it a Metroidvania?
I'm starting the petition.
A Marcusvania?
I don't want to play that one, so I'll counter it.
A Phoenixvania. Exclusive.
Well, that was some great BCM Freemhold talk. Again, we have that going on. We have RTDL. We have Gamertag Challenge, which this month is NBA Kirkland. And we have TA Hangman Challenge. A lot of challenges, a lot of contests. Truly is what is driving my gaming right now. And I love talking about them. I love planning for them. So a lot of fun to be had. And of course, we're talking about all that stuff on Discord, as well as general help and boost. Like I said, people come in, they ask for help, or generally somebody is around to help them fairly immediately. And if they can't, then something is scheduled pretty quickly, and people are getting help with what they need, and it's really great.
I have to, as an aside, I know you're trying to wrap up, but it's really great actually to see it in action, because at least initially it's sort of us, our group who record, and some folks who came over from Z to Z and have been very active from the beginning. But this past weekend during the Super Bowl, someone came in, and I apologize, I do not remember the name offhand. Maybe one of you guys can help me with that. But they came in looking for Crystal Moon, came in looking for Master Chief Collection help. And this seems to have gotten off the ground. What the Fog was in there, Dino Bowl was in there. So it's great to see these people that really had no connection to each other previously just jump in and do this. So if you have a request for boosting, just jump into the room, ask away. The community's just got so many varied interests and so much in their backlog that someone is likely to have the thing you need.
And it doesn't have to be a long boost. It could be one achievement that you need. Invite somebody to your Catan game or something.
Oh, sorry, Jay Black.
Yeah, Jay Black.
By next week, we'll have it done.
Yeah. So that's discord.io/AH101. There's a mobile app, there's a web app, there's a desktop app. It's a great place to sign up and just be there. And, we notify you when the show comes out, of course, and if there's any big news or anything like that. It does serve that kind of purpose, but really the discussions and the help that people can request and offer is what it's really all about. So really encourage you to just join that and see if you like it. I think if you pop in, you'll find that it feels more like home than you might otherwise think. So definitely do that.
All right.
We also have a Mixer, mixer.com/AH101. Hopefully we get back to a more scheduled streaming where we stream indie games mostly. And then the show itself, how you're listening to it. We are on Spotify and YouTube now, in addition to Apple iTunes, Libsyn, and anywhere else you can get that feed. So be sure to follow us on all those platforms if you can, if you will. Yeah, and again, if there's any other way that you would like to hear the show that we aren't doing already, let us know, and we will try to cater to that. And if you see a button that says subscribe, smash it. As Ken would say. Lastly, if you want to just support us in any way, obviously sharing the show is great, and reviewing the show is even better. Helps us out in the most free way that can help you. So help us help you, and not be derailed by L, because
Class dismissed.
5, 4, 3. Review. It is a review. Review. It's review time. Review.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Epic Reviews. Here we take the games we want to review, and we review them, and we tell you the epic wins, and we tell you the epic fails of the game. So, today we have for you Legendary 11. So, for those of you that are not very good at sports ball, this is a soccer game. If you're overseas, it might be a football game. If you're still in America, it can be soccer or football. So, but not football. That just sounds weird around here. So, I am joined today by the wonderful Xpovos of the Chronos family. How you doing, buddy?
It's good to be here. I'm doing pretty well.
Awesome. I always want to put that R in there.
I noticed that. We've had some issues with that of late.
Yeah, apparently there's a Portuguese, or was it a Portuguese guy that I sent the script to that, knows what we're about to say?
Poland is pretty close to Portugal, so, it's on the same continent.
Yes, it did start with a P and an O. All right, yeah, that's overseas, so, yeah.
And so is our script.
There you go. So, if there's a Polish version of this floating out there, there you go. And so, this Legendary 11 game, for those of you that just, again, are not very good with sports ball, it's called Legendary because obviously the game's going to be legendary if it's a soccer game. But the 11, you might be confused about the 11. Well, the 11, that is how many players are on the pitch at one time. And yes, I did just say pitch. I did that for our English listeners. It's a field, but I use pitch just for them. So, 11 people on the field at a time, that's why it's a Legendary 11. So, and so on this game, my credentials are A, I played it. I did. I played this game. And B, I played soccer my entire life since I was 6 years old. Growing up in Texas, even in the 80s, if you didn't play soccer or didn't know about soccer, it was even weird back then. So, I played my whole life. I baked Chin once, and that's about it.
You baked Chin?
Oh, yeah. He didn't see it coming. I just put a little...
He didn't break you down? He wasn't clinical on you?
Nope. I baked him. I shaked him. I baked him. Poor Chin.
Well, I think this particular review of Legendary 11 is going to be so legendary that it will go to 11.
Ooh. And I'll be asleep. So if you hear like a big thud, that would be my forehead hitting the mic.
I do have a tendency to talk too long, so I'll try and make sure that doesn't happen here tonight.
Ooh, see, I have the problem I don't talk enough, so...
well, we're going to be good partners then.
I'll try to say a few things here and there. So why don't you start us off? Well, what's this game all about as far as the technical deets, if you will?
All right, so Legendary 11 was developed and published by Eclipse Games, and they released it on Xbox on January 4th, 2019 for a sale price of $14.99.
Wow, that's less than $15.
That is a little bit less than $15. It's like they intentionally made it a little bit less than $15 to make you think it wasn't $15, but it might actually be $15.
Wow, legendary mind trick.
So it is a arcade style, but very simulation-y association football, or soccer as we call it in America, game with fairly simple controls, but it feels very well balanced for all of that. It is a nice experience playing this game, in my opinion. We'll get into that a little bit more in our details, but just to start off, it is the soccer game, and it has a couple of different modes. It has a cup mode, where you play through several different cups. You can have a friendly match with the computer, your couch buddy, or even online. And it also has... Yeah, it has online co-op and online... Well, it doesn't really have online co-op. This game is more about the competition side of things.
Oh, man. So I can't play online with people? That's...
You can play online with people, but you're going to be playing against them.
Oh, okay.
And then the last mode it has is the Legendary Games, where it pulls games from the past and it tries to have you replay those moments of glory with these characters from the distant age of soccer years past.
Yeah, it kind of omitted the nice World Cup where Zidane, headbutts you and yeah, it skipped that moment. That was an awesome moment.
I think this game is trying to shoot for something a little bit further back in history than even the early 2000s.
Yeah, it looked like I kind of scrolled through it. It looked like it went up to the hand of God and in the 80s, and yeah, that was the last one I saw.
The characters that they're depicting look like they're from the 1970s and maybe from the 1980s, so I think you're spot on there.
Yeah, and the characters, a little sidebar on it, they are like freakish looking alien folks with their long legs. I've played soccer my whole life. I've never seen anybody that looks like that. That looked more like some basketball players or something. You know, you see these basketball players with the long legs and they like jump up and come down like their legs snap in half. I don't know. You've probably seen that on a couple of instances, but they kind of have that.
I've seen
body
that
shape.
in American football quite recently, unfortunately.
Oh God, yeah, there was a lot of bad ones this season. Woo, yeah. So, well, let me tell you about the Xpovos. So, this is a Chivo podcast, so let's talk some Chivos. So, there's a couple of different ways you can get the achievements. The primary way is by winning cups. So, there's different cups you can enter. You can win the Africa Cup, you can win the Asia Cup, you can win this cup, you can win that cup, and there's all kinds of cups. And so, you win all the cups, and you get a stack, and you get 6. Like a stack of cups, not a stack of achievement. And you get 6
Do you say I can have a 6-pack?
And then for winning games, yeah, so you play to win the game. And so you play
Draws don't count.
No, you got to win some games. And there's 3 achievements related.
How many games
to
do I have to win?
Oh, I'll get to that in a minute.
All right.
Don't you worry about that. And then substitutions. You get an achievement for that, making a lot of substitutes. Granted, you can only do 3 per game, but there is an achievement tied to that. Dribble. Yeah, you can dribble. So if you bake all the players like I baked Chin, then you get an achievement for that. Bicycle kick. So if you send the ball in, do a bike, and knock it in the goal, there's some achievements for that. Well, actually just 1. And then there's some scoring goals achievements. We'll get into that in a second. And then lastly, there's 3 achievements related to stickers. Where we'll talk about the sticker achievements or that system here in a little bit. So that's the kind of a preview of what we're about to talk about. So let's get into some epic wins.
All right. Should I go first on my epic win?
Oh, I'd love for you to.
All right. Well, my epic win on this is the gameplay. This is a very solid, very fun to play soccer simulation game. Its controls are simple but elegant. The AI is fair and balanced, where it challenges you at various levels of play and skill and doesn't feel like it's cheating. And yet, if you want to, and you've developed the patience and learned the controls, you can outpower this lower-powered AI and have a tougher challenge on the higher levels. The aspects that it adds in terms of the stickers, which we'll come to again in a few minutes, and the cups keep it fresh and engaging. This is overall a very enjoyable experience where we can play soccer and continue to play soccer. You can play this game for the foreseeable future, which is not so true, say, with FIFA.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm so glad you went there. So I really enjoyed the gameplay of this game. So I like games like this. I am a sucker for them. I like those old school games. And so this one was kind of like those ACA games. They have about 3 or 4 of them. Those ACA, it's basically the same game. They just made it a newer year. So there's about 3 of them out there. They kind of went the King of Fighters approach, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98.
They just changed the roster, right?
Not even changed the roster. I don't even know what the difference is. It looked to me like it was the same game. But, maybe they did change like the teams that were in the tournament, but this is like those ACA games. It's that same style where the same view, and it's kind of, if you played any old NES or SNES type games, it kind of felt like that, more like SNES, that generation, the 16-bit games in soccer. So these games, they really, because the gameplay is so simple, and I like that. I like that. You only have like 4 buttons. You hit A, it passes. You hit B, it shoots, and Y is a long, clear, and stuff like that. And you may have a sprint button, and this game does have that. And I didn't realize that until late.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out how to sprint button.
Yeah,
I
there
played
was a
without
sprint
sprint
button.
for many games.
Oh yeah, I'm like, man, I can't run anybody, but there is a sprint button. It's right trigger. Just thought I'd bring that up.
It seems pretty
It's-
obvious in retrospect. I should have realized it.
You would think like at some point you would have clinched the controller, and all of a sudden you get this little speed boost. But and so I like that. And so FIFA, Lord have mercy, FIFA, what has become of you? So FIFA and Madden. Oh, I'm not letting you off the hook either, Madden. So
We're talking about
people
football
want-
here.
yeah, this is football, so we're talking football. So FIFA, man, what the hell, man? Like, you have this game, and so it's like you have to hit 20 buttons to do anything, and it's people like realistic stuff, but not in their sports games. I'm sorry, I said it. People like Tecmo Bowl. You got 8 plays you can choose from. They don't want to sit there and drop X's and O's and be figure out, break down the defense and all that. Maybe there's some people out there that like doing that, but most gamers, I think, rather have the Tecmo Bowl version where, okay, that looks like that guy's going to go deep. Let me just throw a long bomb to him. Maybe they won't pick that defense. And so it's just frustrating to me.
There is a tough line to draw between a game where it is a sports simulation that is simulating the sport, and it is still fun to play because it gives you control and lets you do things that you can't do in real life. And that's what a game is all about in a lot of these situations. You're living the fantasy of, man, if I was taller, I could have been the pro quarterback. Don't we all feel that way?
Well, maybe fantasy for me would be to play this game and not FIFA and Madden. That sounds more like a nightmare to me. They are... Oh my gosh! Don't get me started on FIFA. I just hate them. I just don't like it. Like everyone just has this fascination with it. I don't get it. It is annoying to play. It is. I'm done with FIFA. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about was that I just thought I'd go ahead and curtail right into what is that? Oh, a brag alert? Oh my goodness! So I did mention SNES days, and so. This game plays like this one game I used to know. What was that game?
Now it's just a game that you used to know.
Oh, wow. That's right. Oh, it's coming to me. It's Super Soccer Champ. Oh, my goodness. It's the arcade hit Super Soccer Champion. Why is this an important game to note? Well, let me see. Let me just look it up on Twin Galaxies. Oh, let's see. Okay. Oh, my goodness. NTSC version of it. Biggest blowout. Oh my gosh, is this a world record? 23 points. Oh, Jason Kelly on June 20th, 2009 set a world record in that game? What in the...
I'm coming for you, mule boy.
So obviously I've put some time into this method of portraying soccer on the screen. I enjoy it immensely because obviously I played a lot of Super Soccer Champ. So, if you know Super Soccer Champ, this plays very similar to Super Soccer Champ, which I have the world record.
So, all right. So I'm very impressed by your success at these soccer games. But when you're playing on an easy AI, pretty much anyone can be successful, and that's something that is a pretty useful takeaway here. The game has 3 different difficulties, and you can set it down to beginner, and even if you've never played a soccer game in your life, give it a couple of games, you'll lose at first. You'll maybe lose the first 3 or 4 in a row, but as you get the hang of the controls, you'll feel comfortable, and you should be able to find some techniques that allow you to win on some of the easier difficulties with some of the better teams, and you can go forward from there and get better at this game. It's not particularly hard, but you're going to be playing a bit of it, which we're going to get to here in a moment. You're going to have to play a lot of it because you need to win the World Cup. And you can't just win the World Cup the first time you try, right? I mean, how long has the USA been trying to do this? They don't even make it all the time.
Well, it depends if you're in certain countries overseas that are magically not using beefroids, but yet they have stamina and can play the entire game.
The USSR is surprisingly stout.
USSR.
Yeah, they have really high ratings all around, and you sort of wonder about that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, hypothetically,
so
you play 2-3 overtime games in the World Cup and find yourself in the finals, and you're still as fresh as you were when you first started the cup. I mean, I'm just saying, it's amazing some of the stamina over there.
Well, that stamina might be coming from a sticker. In fact, one of the stickers that I unlocked early on in the game is, let me talk about the stickers in here. Stickers are team modifiers that you can earn, and you start off with a couple of them. And these will modify each of your major position points, so your attackers, your midfieldmen, and your defenders. And they make them faster or stronger or more resilient or have additional abilities or they have more stamina. But they also have a sticker category called Special. And the sticker that I'm referring to here that I managed to earn early on is a sticker called Restful Halftime. And instead of getting a minor stamina reboost at the halftime, my team has full stamina every single time coming out of the half. So maybe the USSR just had that going all the time.
Maybe there's like 20 stickers on every forehead of every Croatia player out there.
And then probably some drugs under the sticker.
20 stickers on the forehead and then 20 stickers injected into the veins. Something. I'm just spitballing here.
So those stickers modify the gameplay slightly. They make it a little bit easier for you as a player. The computer will choose its own stickers as well. And if another player plays, they get to choose their stickers. You will have to unlock 32 stickers. You start off with 4, I believe, maybe as many as 6, but you have to unlock more through playing the game, and generally speaking, through winning those cups. You will have to play through and win the World Cup 6 different times to unlock all of the stickers, in addition to the other cups a number of times as well.
Wow, that's a lot of stickers.
It's a lot of stickers. It's a lot of cups.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to revisit that in a second. So, let me just tell you my last epic win real quick, is the Super Shot feature. I thought it was pretty cool because, again, like I mentioned, in FIFA, to do something like this, you would probably have to punch in something that looks like a Konami code. In this game, all you have to do is pass the ball around a little bit, hold possession, and at some point your meter fills up, and then you can hold down one button and you go into this cool little sequence where you juggle the ball and then you execute a bicycle kick and the ball goes in like 95% of the time. And then, big celebration. It's pretty cool looking. So I enjoyed that. I was like, oh yeah. You feel like you're doing some kind of cool special combo and but in reality, you're just holding down a button. So I thought that was pretty cool. And also on another quick epic win that I liked was the announcer. The announcer, I thought he was great. The announcer was very played down. It was just like you score, and he's like, oh! Yeah, and it was kind of the echo and the reverb was great. And so it also reminded me of another game that came out in a similar style to this. It wasn't Super Soccer Champ, but it was one before that, Super Soccer something else. But it wasn't that one. It was in the N64 maybe. Yeah, N64. I can't remember which game it was. I'm old. And so it had the announcer, and it was right around the same time that voice was being implemented in games, so they couldn't quite get it down right. And so it just had several pre-programmed things, and so all the countries' names were like one little audio file, and then there was like a second audio file where it would try to dictate what the action was. And so if you shot the ball and it was really close, it might say of the defense that they lived another day. And so what it came off sounding like the first audio clip did not match up to the second audio clip. So if you played this game, you know which game I'm talking about. It's really funny. So it'd be like all calm when he's saying the name of the country, and then the second clip was all excited. So it'd be like, Poland, leave another day! And it was just hysterical. And so I appreciated the announcement on this one. Then that he didn't mismatch his verbiage, I guess.
Well,
there you go.
So the announcer from this game, Legendary 11, is what you're talking about. But briefly there, you were talking about Super Shots, and I want to swing back around to that for just a minute, because
right on.
Useful way of looking at this is that yes, you can commit your Super Shots, and as long as you've got possession, you're in good shape. But when you lose possession, the AI can commit their own Super Shots as well. They pass that ball around, they retain possession, they get into the scoring position, they can figure out how to hold down one button too, and that ball is going to the back of the net, 95% chance. So,
what level were you playing on? I never saw them. I was just playing on beginner, and those suckers, man, they could hardly put a pass together.
Yeah, on higher difficulties, they absolutely can, and they will wreck you. It was entertaining and heartbreaking, because I was in the 90th minute of my third game. I figured, I've finally got this. I've gotten ahead. And then they tied it up, and then they got the ball, and they did the Super Shot, and it was as time expired. It was the most glorious defeat ever. And I think those moments of meta-narrative that you can pull from these sports games is what they're all about. So it helps to relieve the monotony of the same thing over and over again. I mean, it's really, you're kicking the ball into the back of the net a lot. So you need those kinds of narratives to spice things up. And it's nice that this game can do it very well.
Yeah. And also, on the note of other cool things this game did, another epic win I forgot to mention was on the penalties. So the penalties, they kind of disrupt the flow of the game, but on the restarts, it actually had a cool little feature where I'm not sure exactly how to describe it, but it's like a little circle, and so you have to put the circle where you want to kind of hit the ball, and so you get it where you want, and then you have to kind of time it right where it kind of counts down, and it's kind of quick, so you have to kind of time it just right, otherwise you just clear it into the stands. But if you hit it just right, you can pull off some pretty epic shots where you can hit the corners, and it was pretty cool. I like that feature.
Get used to that as well. You'll have to kick a goal from a free kick at least 10 times for one of the stickers. So
there you go. Right on. Well, that kind of leads me into the epic fails. I like this game. I hate to dog on it, but ultimately we are an achievement community, and we're not a man that game was cool community. So the epic fail is those some grindy achievements, man. They are just grinding. So it's I almost dropped an F-bomb. It's an enjoyable experience, but man, it's like too much of a good thing. So for example, you're winning a game, so you get an achievement for winning a game. One game, you win a game, and bleep boop, you get your one match you won.
10 GS are yours.
Yep, first victory is the name of that one. So then you're like, oh, that was all right. And so then you're like, okay, well, what's next? Oh my goodness, is that 25 games? You're like, okay, well, I could probably do 25. I can play 25. So
I gotta go get 6 cups anyway, right?
Yeah, that's right. So let me go win 24 more. So bloop bloop, you win. Winner, 25 gamer score. And then you're like, oh, okay, well, what's left? Oh my goodness, there's another win game achievement. What is that? Oh, wait, am I looking at that right? 100 gamer score for winning 100 freaking games? Like, are you serious? So the lowest setting you can put on there is 3-minute games. So you're already looking at 300 minutes.
Yeah, that's 5 hours,
right
Elroy.
Yeah. I'm thinking that the math's right on that. So at very minimum, you got a 5-hour commitment here if you want to win. And that's assuming you win every game. There's one for finishing 100 games. That's called the veteran. You get 50. So basically, they stack in essence. So 150 gamer score for 5 hours of your life, and assuming that you win them all. So that one's kind of like, okay, but that's not even the grindiest of them. I mean, that was pretty bad, but there's also, there's one for substitutions. I mentioned that, but 100 of them. So it's like, so you're going to do 3 per game. So you're up to 34 games technically, where you have to do that. So, but if you're going to be playing 100 games, yep, you're going to, do at least 3 substitutions in each one. And then we get to, well, you already mentioned winning the cups, how long that takes and how many of them there are. But let's go to scoring goals. So you score a goal. There's not one for scoring 1 goal unless it's a penalty shot, which you get 25 gamer score for that. Or if you score an own goal, so you can go shoot on yourself. That was actually more difficult than you would think, because
your goalkeeper's pretty good.
Yeah, the goalkeeper is brutal, man. That guy, he comes flying in. He doesn't care what jersey you're wearing.
He tackles you.
He does. He goes right at the knees too, and he will murderize you. So you gotta kind of work a little bit to get that one. You can't just hold the stick the opposite direction and have him throw it in the goal. That doesn't work. That works in other games, but not this one. And so you score, what's this? 50? Is that 50 goals? Yeah, okay, that's doable. So what I did for that one, for those of you that are going to need some shortcuts on this, I just hooked up a second controller, and poor Saudi Arabia. I don't know how they made it the cut into this game, but they are really not a good team, and you can select them really quick by hitting left in the little friendly match. And I've been setting my matches to 3 minutes so that I can work towards that 100. And so you play against Saudi Arabia with Germany, and it's just ugly. And so basically every time they get the ball, since you have the second controller hooked up, they just stand there with the ball. So then you just steal the ball from them, and then it's just like a cascading offensive juggernaut coming down the field, and it's going to go in the goal at some point. And so you can probably pull off about 6 or 7 goals in a 3-minute span. That seems to be about my average using this technique. So it's going to take a little while because you got to get the other one, which is the 500 goals. Yes, 500 goals. And so that one's called leading score, worth 100 gamer score, 500 goals. And I thought, well, what's the significance of 500? Do you know any significance about 500 goals?
Not specifically. It's a big number.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, it's a big number. So I started thinking, well, good Lord, why'd they choose 500? And I thought, well, how many people actually in real life have 500 goals? And so I did a little Bing. I did some Binging on this. And so my Bing results were kind of eye-opening. And I was like, oh, I didn't know this was a thing. So apparently scoring 500 goals is some kind of big milestone. And at this point, 28 people have done so in the world. So if you include America, which you got to include America, that number jumps up to 31 because you have to include Adam Vinatieri with 582. Not 500, not 583. Right, Colts? Not 583. You have to include Morten Anderson and Gary Anderson. The Andersons are big over here in the States. But in the rest of the world, the rest of the 28, number 1, in case you're curious, was a gentleman from the Czech. I don't know if it's Czech Republic. I assume so. And Austria, played for both teams. And his name was Joseph Pepe Bican. I don't know if I probably butchered that name, but he had 805 shots, or goals rather.
That is a lot of goals.
Yeah, that's the world leader. So, yeah, there you go. That was your educational portion of the segment. Oh, and so the rest of the achievements that
took him a lifetime.
I think I covered them all. So, how about you? What was your fails here?
So just to cap it up, those are the obvious grindy ones, but the stickers may actually be more grindy because they require you to not just, like I said, you win the World Cup, not just the one time, but 6 times with different teams, and some of those teams are not particularly good. So you're going to expend a fair amount of time playing extra games in this to get all the achievements. They clearly expect you to enjoy playing this game for an extended period of time, but even still, this game will not take a terribly long time to complete. It's just going to be a lot of soccer over a fairly short period of time. TA has an estimate of completion of 12 to 15 hours. I play slow.
At least 8 full games here, like of real soccer.
Yeah.
8 full games.
I don't play as successfully. I have losses. Not all my games are wins. So I'm going to say it's probably closer to 15 to 20 for someone like me. And I think that's going to be a reasonable estimate. But I think it could be done in as little as 10. But you're going to see somewhere between 10 and 20 hours for a completion for most gamers on this. And you'll need a little bit of skill, but you can probably get by with pushing it down the difficulty and just a little bit of practice. So the grind is real. The grind is a fail. There's no way to deny that. I do have one more epic fail for you, though.
Oh, right on.
The epic fail here is on the production values. Yes, this is a small game from a small team, and it's not FIFA, and we praised it for not being FIFA earlier. But the one thing that FIFA does have is the production values. And this game, it looks like the 1970s, and it feels like the 1990s. You were promoting the promoter, the announcer. You were saying how he made you remember those old games. Well, that's because I think they actually borrowed him from those old games. The game.
Is that why he's so echoey and kind of choppy?
And he has 2 lines, and he uses them over and over again. He says, goal, and then he says, goal, and then he says, goal again. So you're going to hear those same lines over and over again, and after you play long enough, you'll recognize them, and it does start to get a little bit annoying. So
does it count as 3 goals every time you score?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, okay.
That would make that grindy achievement a whole lot easier.
You are kidding.
The game lacks in polish, and it could really stand to have a little bit more of that because the base is so enjoyable. The gameplay is so much fun, and if it weren't for the fact that you had to play it as much, some of those polish points could be ignored or glossed over. But because they're clearly expecting you to play this for an extended period of time, it really needs that extra coat and a little bit more work. It's a little rough around the edges sometimes, though I think that was partially intentional.
Well, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the atmosphere, but then again, I really like bad games, so take that for what it's worth. Yeah. So
overall, this was a solid game. I think we're supposed to give this a rating. How many soccer balls out of soccer balls will you give this?
Oh, man. Let's see. I think I'm going to give, for the soccer football genre, I'm going to give it, let's go 4 out of 5. You lose one ball. Well, you lose ball for a lot of reasons, but you lose one ball for the grindy achievements. But overall, it kicks some grass, man.
I'm going to agree. This is a 4-star game, or a 4-ball game. Not a 4-base game. That's a different game. But a 4-ball game, well worth your time, and not a bad price, although I will still probably wait for it to come on sale before I buy my own copy.
Right on. All right. Well, I think we covered it, so we'll just let everyone go!
Hello and welcome to a BCM special with me, Wakapeil, and the BCM organizer himself, IronFistofSnuff. How's it going?
It's going well. I've been BCMing it all day since 9, and it is 2.
BCM, or Better Completions Matter, have a lot of different categories and bonuses that you can obtain by playing specific titles.
That's very true. I've already seen a lot of specific titles, and if you go to the BCM leaderboard, you can actually find a link that Tim created that shows what every category's been, or what every game in each category that has been used so far.
Today we will discuss a game that is very useful for this competition. But before we get going, let me ask you a couple of things first, Iron Fist.
Sure.
What made you decide to organize this competition?
Well, so one day at work, I was bored at my last job, where I didn't really do much. I just stood around at a desk all day, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice if I didn't have to work here, and I got paid to get completions? Which led me to my original idea of the algorithm that we would use for the scoring later, when I was like, well, you know, I'm not actually going to get paid for games, but I could turn this into a contest where people get points for completing games that are better. So I wanted to create a contest that was more about getting good completions instead of the common completions anymore, where a lot of people seem to be jumping to those easy completions as soon as they come out. I wanted to change it up and try to force people to go for the completions that really challenge you or take a lot of your time, that you have to invest your life into, I suppose.
Yeah, I've been doing the opposite of that so far. I've been hitting the easy games hard. I've got plenty of completions, but not a lot of points to show for it.
Don't worry, you're in the same boat as a lot of people.
I'm guessing this competition has blown up more than you expected, and you have a lot more completions and managing on your hand than you expected.
It is certainly a lot more work than the beta was. Last year I ran a beta for 3 months. It had 98 people in it, which is only 12 less than we have this year. So I've only gotten 12 more people, but the amount of completions has changed significantly, as well as adding the challenges and bonus categories to it has made the overall time that it takes to add each person's completions much longer. So this is a lot more work to do for quite a few people, and a lot more people are participating actively than they did last year.
I actually missed the sign-up date, but you were kind enough to let me in anyway.
Yeah, there was a few people that missed it, and if there was enough people at that time, I let them in. Now I'm not letting anybody else in because we have the perfect number. I can't do it. But at that point, we still needed a couple more to even things out.
Well, thanks for hosting a fun competition. I've really been enjoying this.
Thank you guys for participating, to everybody that has. I know it can be a little frustrating to have to wait sometimes up to 6 days for your completions to be added to the spreadsheet just because I don't have time. But on the days I'm off, I really go hard on it. So it's basically like a second job for me.
Yeah, and thanks again for doing it.
You guys are welcome.
The game we were planning to discuss this week is Zombie Driver Ultimate Edition. This was originally released on the 360, But the one edition has, for some reason, 2000 gamer score, which is not very common.
No, it's not.
And it's not even DLC, it's title updates.
Is that true? Oh wow, I thought it was DLC. That's crazy.
If you buy it, you will get everything you need, and you can keep going and go for that completion. The completion estimate is around 25 hours, but according to TA, I only played it for 13 hours for the completion. I don't know if that's because I'm really, really good, or if something messed up the timer.
I'd like to believe that you're really, really good at it.
It is not a very difficult game, but it can get a bit tedious. It's not exactly the best game in the world. It's not the worst either, but there are only 13% that has started it, that completed it, and it is very likely that they got bored with it.
I could see that. I have actually played it before, luckily not on Xbox, because I don't know if I could stick to it for 20 hours to complete it. I only played it for a few hours on PC a few years ago, and after a few hours I was like, I liked it, but I'm done with it.
The title updates actually added more variety to the game, but as it is, you play a taxi driver during a zombie outbreak, and you do what taxi drivers do. You run around, well, you take your taxi around the town and pick up people and deliver them to other places.
That sounds like an even crazier version of Crazy Taxi. That sounds really entertaining.
And very violent and bloody.
Yeah, I could imagine that too. This game was very bloody.
There's also a slaughter mode, which is basically you get score depending on how long you survive and murder zombies with your car, and the racing mode as well. These are very minor parts of the game, and you will probably beat them rather quick. The campaign where you drive around and deliver passengers is the longer part. It can get a bit boring, but if you stick to it, you can get 2000 gamer score and 3800 TA in, well, estimated 25 hours, but probably less than that.
That's not bad at all. I mean, for what is almost a 2 ratio, I think it actually clocks in at about 1.9. That'll give you some decent score on the BCM leaderboard.
On top of that decent score, you can slot it into a few rather rare categories. There's a category called 2K Games, which tasks you with completing a game with the 2000 gamer score or more, which this game has. It is classified as vehicular combat. It begins with a Z, which is not a very common letter for games to begin with. It has mass sickness, and that mass sickness is zombies.
That's very true. It seems I've gotten quite a few completions that match both the mass sickness and the zombies, or people also like to use post-apocalyptic and zombies. Those ones always seem to go together.
Yeah, would you call this post-apocalyptic? It seems to be a rather local outbreak.
I mean, I would say so, just because, I mean, I was willing to count a game that's even like a Sunset Overdrive, because they call it the Awesome Apocalypse, so it's kind of an apocalypse to them in that area.
I did not even intend to get that classified, but I do have another category that I'm not sure if this qualifies for, along with a couple of other games that I'm a bit curious whether you will accept them or not for this category.
Alright, let's see what it is.
The category is Achievement Hunting is My Job, which tasks you with playing a game that simulates a real job. Would you classify Zombie Driver as simulating a real job? You are a taxi driver driving around during a zombie outbreak.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, well, I mean, you are a taxi driver. See, this one's always hard because I don't want to deny people for creative thinking with these, but there's another case like Riptide GP. It simulates racing, but it's also in a flooded world, and that's not a realistic thing either. It's It's a hard one to classify. I think as a taxi driver, if you're actually picking people up and delivering them to places, then that's good enough because they just throw a twist on it. So I think I would allow that.
In that case, you'd allow Crazy Taxi as well.
Oh, absolutely. Crazy Taxi absolutely counts as you're picking people up and driving them around and then delivering them to their location. That's what a taxi does. So I think that it simulates being a taxi driver, even if they throw some crazy stuff in there.
Would that extend to most racing games then?
Yes, yes and no. Depends on the type of racing game. If you're playing something like Split Second or Blur, I don't think that would count because the idea there is that you're shooting weapons at other cars, and I mean, right now that's not a realistic thing. Like, you're not trying to kill the other racers.
Well, you shoot weapons with your taxi in this game as well.
But you're killing zombies while doing your job. The taxi part of the job isn't that you're killing people, it's that you're taking people around. With racing, in some games the whole intent is to kill your enemies, in which case I don't think that would count. Because nobody's a real killer unless you're going to jail. And that's not a job.
There are plenty of killers that haven't gone to jail, but let's table that discussion for later.
Well, yes, that's true, but, you know.
The Bridge Constructor series, where you build bridges and send poor cars or trucks over them.
If you're asking, yeah, I think that would absolutely count. I think I've already allowed achievement hunting is my job for Bridge Constructor. Stunts, I think, is the one that was used.
Yeah, were you both a stunt driver and a bridge constructor?
Yep, I absolutely counted that one.
Metal Wolf Chaos XD. The President of the United States fights a civil war against the Vice President with his giant mech.
So, the job is being a president then?
Yes, you play as the President and you fight a civil war with the Vice President. An armed uprising.
But, are you putting in any, decrees or orders?
I haven't gotten that far into the game yet.
Are you doing anything presidential? I don't think so, just because generally presidents don't ride around in mechs. Or do any of that. They generally just sign paperwork and say whatever they want to.
I thought you were going to go with, since military is automatically disqualified and the President of the United States is the head of the military, he would be disqualified anyway.
Oh, that's true too. I guess you got to think about it from all the aspects.
Okay, I'll scratch that off the list. In the later Fable games, you play as a hero or an adventurer, which is not a real profession, but you do get to work as a musician, a baker, or a blacksmith.
That 100% counts. I was thinking about that one when I was creating the list.
Most sports games, FIFA, Madden, or NHL, you take control of the entire match, but you do control a lot of players that are technically being paid for what they are doing.
This is another one that counts. A couple of people have asked about using FIFA as one, and I was like, it simulates being a professional footballer, so I'll allow it.
My final title is YouTuber's Life. Is being YouTuber a job or not?
Oh, I want it to be really badly. Oh, that's funny. That's a very good question. I mean, it depends, because, yeah, later in the game you make enough money that it would be a job. If you can financially support yourself, pay all your bills, and, yeah, basically that. If you can just financially support yourself.
I'm guessing if you are successful in the game, you can actually do that. At least in the game.
Yeah, I imagine so. So, I guess for some people that is a job already. Like, look at big YouTubers. So I imagine that if you get big in the game, then this would be your job, and therefore you could find success in it. Also, this game, while the gameplay doesn't simulate the jobs in the game, you can click on your door and go to work to make money too. So I'm going to give this a big old yes.
Okay, it seems like... the achievement hunting is my job category spans a lot of titles and is easier to obtain than I expected.
Yeah, see, that's the hard part there, is because it's like, if I'm too harsh on that one, it's going to be way too hard to accomplish. if I'm loose on it like I am now with it, it's like, as long as you can sort of justify that that's a real job, I'll allow it.
Well, thank you very much for joining me, Iron Fist of Snuff. You also have your own podcast. Would you like to say a few words about it?
Sure. Me and a friend of mine, Chris, we have started our own podcast called the Chivo Chums Podcast. It's currently only on YouTube, but we basically talk about achievements that we've won in the week, talk about new things coming to the BCM if there are new things at the time, as well as just leaderboard updates, how we're doing in it, and the new show that we've created called The Ultimate Chivo, where we challenge each other back and forth each week to get a very hard achievement in a game that we own and that we want the other person to try to complete. So it's pretty fun.
Thanks again for joining me, and thanks for organizing the Better Completions Matter contest. I've enjoyed it this far, and I hope to enjoy it for the entire year.
Oh, that you will, and thank you for inviting me to the podcast. I really enjoyed being a part of it.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.